Welcome back to Popcorn for Breakfast. Join us as we go back to ancient Rome for another visit to our favorite gladiators. Let's go!
This is Popcorn for Breakfast, presented by St. Louis Area Smoothie Kings. Now, here are your hosts, Cam and Kirk.
What if your wife walked in right now? I turn.
You're home early. No, she would be like, same as always.
Slowly closes the door.
Yeah. What happened was Kirk showed up to my house with a nondescript trash bag full of what I assumed was a gladiator costume. Then we recorded a whole episode. I forgot about it, which I think was his plan all along. And then he said, I have to go to the bathroom. And I started working on, getting things ready for the next episode. And then in slow motion, like the climax of a thriller film, it occurred to me what was happening in the bathroom. And I looked over and saw the trash bag empty and in slow motion said, "Oh no." And then the door swung open and there he was, fully garbed out. But I have to say now that the shock has worn off. It's getting me in the right frame of mind for this review. Because I did just see this movie. I don't know. It ended at like 9:45 and it's 11:45 now.
Yep.
But we did just spend 45 minutes talking about Wicked. So I'm getting back into Rome right now.
Yeah.
And you're taking me there.
Yeah, I've got you,
so
man.
I appreciate
I just want to do a fit check for our YouTube watchers. Hold on.
Yeah. This will be good. This is good. Yep. It's a full thing. It's not like this isn't one of those situations where the news anchor is like wearing gym shorts underneath the desk. This is a full deal. So, yeah, it's quite a spectacle to behold. Really is. Really is.
Okay. Here we go.
Are you going to do your screen test for Gladiator 3 while you're here?
That's right. Are you not entertained?
You won't get the role with that.
What?
Sorry, not. You got to bring the energy. Plus, Russell Crowe doesn't dress like a Roman general. He dresses like a gladiator.
That's true. Well, maybe
you're auditioning for the wrong role.
Like in Star Wars Episode 7, when the stormtrooper becomes a good guy.
I do. Yeah, I do know that.
There you go. Gladiator 3.
Terrible.
Well, let's get started. Let's address the gladiator in the room. I was not able to attend this early screening. I was devastated. I had to see my children perform in an adorable Christmas play, which it was very sweet.
Lame excuse. Just kidding. Meanwhile, my children don't even know my name. They forgot that I've existed because I've been to 3 movie screenings in 3 days. I don't even think they don't even remember me.
That's right. I rebuilt my relationship with my kids by only seeing 2 instead of 3 in a row. Yeah. So, that's fine. They can come live with me. It's not a big deal.
Yeah, whatever it takes.
So tonight we're talking about the very, very widely acclaimed and very highly anticipated Gladiator II. I guess I should take that back. We don't know if it's highly acclaimed yet. We are seeing some
we don't.
Good reviews so far from the circles that we talk to and people who have even seen this film before us. And it's going to be quite a journey tonight. I'm excited to ask Cam all of our accolade questions. Our Oscar goes to, our scene stealer, our showstopper, our director's shoes, our final thoughts and score. I want to get into this in a very spoiler-free way because I still have to see this.
Yes.
Should I wear this to the theater when I go see the movie?
I mean, I think you could. It doesn't cover your face. So I don't think you're violating any policies.
I mean, I might. I might.
I say go for it. Maybe people will take pictures with you. You'll be like one of those Times Square Elmos.
It's the perfect promotion for the podcast.
Just have to smoke a cigarette or something. I don't know. To really complete the transformation.
And say crude, misleading things out the side of my mouth as well. So here we go, Cam. Are you ready to talk all things spoiler-free with Gladiator 2?
I am. And I think cards on the table, I'm a huge fan of the original movie. It's one that I've loved for a long time. I didn't get to watch it when it came out because I was too little, but I did get to watch it on TBS with commercials and limited blood. So I did that until I was old enough to check it out in all its glory. I rewatched the original 2 days ago. It was my first time revisiting the movie in probably 10 to 12 years, I would say. Um, and it was great. I loved being back in that world. One of my favorite performances ever by Russell Crowe. I think a lot of people question why he won the Oscar for that movie. I think if you rewatch the movie, you'll have that question answered, because I think it's just, it's not the most rangy performance, but it's got a lot of soul behind it, just a
Yeah.
lot. And he was at the top of his game back then.
Yeah. Sometimes you don't need range to win an Oscar. You need commitment
Yes.
and incredible commitment on his part.
Yes.
Beautiful. I did not see Gladiator until like last year, like in
Mm.
2023. Not because I was didn't want to watch it. I think part of it was like, am I going to love it as much as I want to love it? And I did. And I'm so happy.
Yep.
So I'm hoping Gladiator 2 does the same for me.
We'll see.
We'll see. Cameron. And the Oscar goes to who is the best actor in Gladiator 2?
The best actor in Gladiator 2 is the person I expected to be the best actor in Gladiator 2, Paul Mescal. Paul Mescal, not Mescal, as I've been calling him for many years. He
Oh,
has clarified it's Mescal. Um, Oscar nominee for Best Actor in After Sun. He is a force to be reckoned with, and I think in this movie, again, cements himself as a huge power player in Hollywood for years to come. He just has the it factor. He has that screen presence and that authority to where when he's on the screen, your eyes are on him and he's delivering these big lines. He's the star of the movie and it just suits him unbelievably well. He really is a worthy successor to one of the most legendary film roles of all time, which is Maximus Decimus Meridius. Of
look at that.
Yeah, man, I don't mess around.
Didn't even stutter.
My name is Maximus Decimus Meridius, commander of the armies of the North, general of the Felix legions, and loyal servant to the true emperor Marcus Aurelius.
Ladies and gentlemen,
Husband to a murdered wife, father to a murdered son, and I will have my vengeance in this life or the next. That's right. Thank you. I think I might have messed that up somewhere in there.
I don't think so at all. I think
Maybe
you nailed
the
it.
father and wife, something there.
You probably messed up because my foot accidentally grazed yours a moment ago.
It threw me out of my zone, but it's an iconic role, and Paul Mescal filling that and kind of stepping into that shadow. He didn't do too much with it, and whenever you're in these like big action movies that are period pieces and you are in warlike scenarios or gladiatorial scenarios,
Mhm.
and you have to give rousing speeches and get people riled up, there can be a tendency to want to do too much, and he didn't fall into that, and he didn't overdo anything. He just stayed right in his pocket and built a good character from the ground up, and one that I think people will just it may not jump off the screen to you, but for me it was so precise that I just really loved it.
That's beautiful. That's poetic. I don't know how you're giving this review with me sitting in this crazy costume.
I just had to imagine I'm in ancient Rome, Kirk. That's all it took.
I'm
That's all it
taking you
took.
back right now. Beautiful. I expected nothing less than that answer, honestly, just because he's incredible, and I don't understand why he's so good. But I'm excited to see more of his art and his performance. Let's move on to your scene stealer, Cam. Who stole the show after Paul?
Yeah, I have to say the cast of this movie is great. I mean, it's great on paper, so probably not overly surprising to hear me say that it was great in the movie. But from Pedro Pascal to Connie Nielsen reprising her role as Lucilla, you've got, of course, Denzel Washington. You've got
The ghost of Russell Crowe. Yes.
the ghost of Russell Crowe. Obviously, you've got what's his name? Johnny Storm. Joseph Quinn from Stranger Things, and they all turn in great performances. For me, I have to go with Denzel.
Hey,
it's Denzel. And a lot of people kind of half criticize this casting, acting like they weren't super excited about this whenever it happened, because it's like, oh, how's Denzel going to exist in the Gladiator universe? He doesn't do accents. He doesn't do whatever. But what he does is just act his butt off. That's what he does. He shows up and he works. And he's given a really super fun character to be. Like it's just tailor made for him. Clearly Ridley Scott had him in mind whenever he wrote this role. It's perfect for him. He just owns it all over the place. It's so amazing to just watch him go to work and elevate everyone around him. I talk about this a lot. When you watch a basketball game and LeBron James is on the floor or Steph Curry's on the floor, watch how the players around them get better. Every scene that Denzel had with Joseph Quinn or Paul Mescal or Connie Nielsen or Pedro Pascal or anybody in the supporting cast, they were all at the top of their game because they were side to side with truly one of the greatest to ever do it. And he was just stealing the show everywhere. A true scene stealer in this movie, and one of the most fun performances I've seen this year, and one that everybody has to see.
I know that feeling. I know that feeling that Denzel has. I often act in children's musicals.
Yeah,
and I can see them just get better when I'm there.
you're just lifting them up.
I just think to myself, I'm Denzel. That's all.
Yeah.
That's what goes in my mind. That's the same thing.
That's good.
That's crazy.
I'm happy for you, man.
That's crazy that him and I have so many similarities.
So many.
I love that.
Too many to count, really.
Let's talk about the showstopper. I'm hoping it has to do with, in the trailer, I see that there are sharks in the Colosseum. It's okay if it's not, but what was a moment, a scene, a pause, something that happened tangible that you could talk about without spoiling, or a production value from Gladiator II that stopped you in your tracks and you have to talk about it?
Yeah, I mean, I think the scene of the naval battle in the Colosseum that you see in a bit of in the trailer, that's what we kind of all wanted in the first movie, right? Like we've all heard about they used to have naval battles, reenactments of naval battles in the Colosseum, fill it up with water, put full scale ships in there, and let them go to work. And that's what I think people wanted to see in the first movie, and or maybe didn't even know to want to see it in the first movie. But if you're going to make Gladiator 2 and you're going to return to the Colosseum and you're going to do it with a big budget, you got to deliver that. And boy, oh boy, do they deliver. I mean, with ships that were just beautifully designed, the shots were awesome, super well edited. This movie, overall, I think, is really well edited. That's really something you tend to see in a Ridley Scott movie because he's a good filmmaker, and there's not a lot of issues on the editing, but particularly the action sequences. The sharks, I will say, were a bit overboard, right? Like, I don't know. I'm not a historian, so I don't know that if whether or not they had sharks in the Colosseum, but the sharks were featured heavily, and it kind of took me out of it a little bit, to be honest. So it's not that particular part, but having a naval battle between, like, I think it was like 2 or 3 ships in the Colosseum was epic. The score was bumping. I saw this in IMAX. It was absolutely pulse pounding.
Oh.
Really everything with this movie, like I'm talking about the Colosseum naval battle, everything in this movie was amped up, like you would expect from a sequel. More action, more blood and gore, louder, more thumpy music, and a score that's, if you go back and listen to the first Gladiator score, it does sound it sounds a little old, like not in a bad way, but just modern scores are a little bit different, and this delivers that. So it's very cinematic, and that naval battle is kind of the tip of the mountain for me.
Bumping some EDM while the sharks are swimming around in there.
No, but just really kind of a nice rhythmic, like something to actually get your pulse pounding a little bit.
That's fantastic. And of course you would have feature the sharks a little too much, of course.
Well, yeah, and there's like all this stuff's in the trailer, so again, not spoilers. There's a guy riding a rhino.
Yes.
I think there was a historian who was like, they would not have had rhinos in the Colosseum, and I'm like, I'll stop you right there. They wouldn't have had a guy riding a rhino. I don't think you could domesticate a rhino. Maybe I'm dead wrong on that, but that was the part for me that I was like, I don't think so.
Dude, Ridley Scott's like Dr. Evil. He's like, I want a rhino.
Yeah.
And I want a freaking shark with a laser beam on it.
Exactly. He does not give a crap. He really doesn't.
Oh, that's incredible. I'm so glad. That just makes me more excited that scene actually paid off well. So
it's fun. It's a lot of fun.
How about things you didn't like? If Ridley Scott was seated right here, Cam, you could look him dead in his eyes and say, how dare you do this? What would you say?
I'd probably say nothing because he would swear at me. He tends to do that to people who disagree with him, and I respect him a lot for it. He'd call me an idiot and say that I'm stupid and probably use the F word or something.
Oh no.
It would be bad. It'd be bad. So I wouldn't say this to Ridley Scott's face. But this one does have some issues. I think story is a big one. And you know me, I'm a story guy, but it's more about, I got to be careful here with it being spoiler free. I will be
Careful.
very careful. I will say that one of the big issues is balance of characters, balance of chronology and share of screen. So like it's very linear. It's very chronological. There's not a lot of jumping back and forth. So when I say chronology, I just mean how much time we're spending in certain areas. At times, it just feels a little out of balance. And I think this is sort of common of late stage Ridley Scott, I would say. I don't know if he would probably cuss me out for calling him late stage Ridley Scott too. But surely like you watch some of his more recent films, House of Gucci comes to mind, you know, it's just a little long in the tooth on some scenes where
A little long in the tooth.
you would like to see a little more balance, a little more discernment, and maybe not being so overindulgent on stuff and being a little more discerning on what you leave in and what you don't, and what characters you feature and what you don't. So the story is, it's an ambitious story. It's a lot like the first movie. The sort of the beauty of it is like revenge story. Point blank.
Mm-hmm.
There's nothing else. It's like this guy's whole family got killed by this guy. You know, like that's pretty much it. He was going to be the emperor, whatever, or at least get to go home. Now he doesn't get to do that because of this guy. And so like the whole movie is just, I'm going to kill that guy. And there's a beauty to that. I think the simplicity of it, it's just really, it's part of the reason that movie works so well. This movie is not like that.
Mm-hmm.
Is it a revenge movie? Absolutely. Is it very much in the vein of Gladiator 1? In many ways, yes. But the scope of it is so much broader, and he's trying to do so much more. It's a lot more ambitious. And because of that, it really feels too much at times, and it feels out of balance at times, which is a problem.
Out of balance. I can't talk. Out of balance. You heard it here 1st.
Mm-hmm.
A third time since I messed up my words there. Congratulations. You'll edit that out, I'm sure. Let's bring it home, Cam. Your final thoughts and score about Gladiator 2. Is this a selling point? Is this going to be a huge movie? Should people see it? Should they wait 20 years before they watch it?
Yeah.
What's it going to be?
Yeah. This is a tough one to score. I had to send my thoughts over to the team that got us the screening. And I just kind of sat there for a while and pondered it, because there is a lot to digest from it. And here's what I will say. This is a great movie to see in the movie theater. Like, this is what movie theaters are made for, in my opinion. Big, large scale action spectacles, period pieces with huge practical sets, big, wartime, gladiator time set pieces, loud score, loud sound mixing, tons of violence and gore, like way more than the first movie. It's just a big bloody mess of spectacle of a movie. So if you're going to watch it and you're interested in it, go see it in the movie theater. Do yourself a favor. You got to watch it in the theater. And I think that in terms of how it moves the franchise forward, I do have some issues with that. I mean, no bones about it. Like, this thing does not reach the Academy Award Best Picture winning heights that the first movie does.
Yeah.
It just doesn't. And maybe this will get nominated for Best Picture. I don't know. There's a lot of road in front of us before we get to that point. But for my money, it never gets there. I think it's a little bit messy on the story. There are some story choices that are related to the first film, because it does tie back to the first film a lot, maybe even too much. There are some story choices I just really don't agree with, and kind of, in my opinion, hurt the collective whole of the two movies now. And so that was painful. And I think that the balancing issues do make it difficult. But there's a lot to like about it. I love that Ridley Scott uses the last hour to go just full throttle. He lays all of his cards out on the table in the first hour and a half, and the last hour is just like go, 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 charge to the finish line. And so it really gives you that cinematic payoff that you want. But I think it does so at the expense of the first movie in some ways. And that's what I was worried about. You remember when we first heard about this movie, I was like, I don't want this. I don't want Gladiator 2. And then I got myself hyped up for it and I saw it and I was like, it was okay, but even good. And I still think I would have rather just had the first Gladiator movie.
Yeah.
So my final score on it is a flat 7.0 out of 10. Good movie, fun movie to watch. It checks a lot of boxes. Not as good as the first one. And I feel like if I were to factor in that first one more and how they kind of work together, I would even bring my score down more because I don't feel like the two of them together are lesser than just the one by itself, if that makes sense.
Sure. With everything that you've seen, unbeknownst to myself and our listening and our viewing audience, is there any indication of a Gladiator 3?
No, but I don't think there was any indication of a Gladiator 2. Like I went back and watched the first movie and there's really, you would have never really known that there would have been a Gladiator 2 at the end of that movie.
No.
And I feel the same way about this one. Like I don't feel like there's any indication one way or the other that there would be a Gladiator 3.
Hear me out. Gladiator 2.5. Lion King style.
We do it Lion King style. We tell the whole second movie by through the perspective of Russell Crowe's ghost.
Yes.
Yeah. That's a winner. That's a winner, Kirk. Send it to Paramount Plus.
Hey man, it'd be like a Rosencrantz and Guildenstern are dead sort of situation. I think it can play.
It could work.
All right, it's gonna
Don't
be
let Ridley Scott hear this.
No.
He's already on it.
He's already written it. He's got ears everywhere. Well, thank you, Cameron. Most of all, thank you for letting me wear this costume in your house.
You're very welcome.
It's pretty comfy.
Now get out.
I would say like you're missing out. I can just leave it here if you want to put it on. Like
I'll be all right
in the privacy of your own home later tonight. If you want to sleep in it, it feels like a hug because it's almost like a weighted blanket. This is real leather for my.
That's why they wore it.
My
man.
protection here, because I don't know if you're going to pull out a giant sword and end me. I think this is going to be my regular garb because I'm so comfy in it. If the viewers and you will allow for it.
Well, the laurel
Yes.
wreath, it does suit you.
Thank you.
Brings out the gold in your golden hair.
Oh my goodness,
There you go.
That's the nicest thing you've ever said to me.
Don't get used to it.
Well, thank you, Cam, for being our liaison. Our what do they call it? Our
Correspondent.
Our correspondent. Our field
Eyes in the
correspondent
sky.
to see Gladiator 2 when I had to go see again my kids' concert. You guys did great. I love it. But I missed Gladiator 2. And
Well, go see it this weekend in the theater
with my kids, right?
with your children.
10, 7, and 1. I think they'll love it, right?
I mean, there were legitimately, when I say that it's bloodier, more gory, I can't emphasize that enough. Like
Yeah.
grown adults were squirming in the theater, and I don't know. I like I said, I just watched the first one. It's not that violent to me. Like there are violent things that happen.
Yeah.
This one is gruesome.
Wow. Don't take your kids. That's from Popcorn for Breakfast. This has been a spoiler-free review on Gladiator 2. Thank you again, Cam, for taking the time to do that. Thank you for your insight, your intelligence, your opinion. And we hope that you guys can watch this over and over again as you make the decision to see Gladiator 2 coming out very, very soon in a theater near you. Check us out on popcorn4breakfast.com. All of the social media. We've got Facebook, we've got X, we've got Instagram, we've got TikTok. We're everywhere. You cannot escape us. Make sure you like, follow, subscribe, all the things so we can bring you the best content with the best guys. I think Cam's the best guy, and
Thanks, man.
I'll try to find some
Means
more.
a lot. I needed that this week.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Next time we'll get you in a costume.
Nope.
We'll talk to you soon.
Peace.